there's no one here beside me. What's up, everybody? Let's see if people start jumping into this live, because I'm very terrible at even announcing that I'm going live, because that's just what happens. Let me get set up here so I can see the chat, just in case people will jump in. So basically, I've been preparing to do some paint work on the truck. So that's what I've been doing with my day today. If anybody's out there, definitely give me a hello. I'll soon be able to see it. Just give me a second to set myself up here. Whoop. All right, excellent. I got my little second device here with the chat going. I am still at the shop in Oregon. Jaylene and Isaac actually just headed out. Isaac's been working super hard all day. Jaylene has been working super hard all day. I've been trying to figure out, things all day. So it's been a day. Ooh, my camera looks terrible too. Sorry. Long as you can see me and hear me, that's all that matters. It's been raining like crazy for the last 2 days, so I've mostly been held up in the box truck, trying to keep warm. Yeah, so that's what's been going on with me. Mickey is in there, just chilling. He had a nice relaxing day today, because everything I was doing to sort of get the process, I had to walk to the store to get the process of paint stuff started, but I went to buy some more paint, the correct paint, after I talked to Jaylena. Some Rust-Oleum stuff that I apparently have to put on metal, and yeah, because we're gonna be doing some painting. I've just been rambling about painting. All right, I'm gonna check out the chat right now. We got a lot of hellos. Coralie, Jennifer, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Victoria, Thomas Thrift from Georgia, Brenda from Georgia, Miss VKC, woohoo, got my notification at the start of the live, yay! Eva, Janet, Marty, Greg's Travels, Ruby Wannabe, Stephanie, what's up? Mike, Valerie Wilson, Naturally Me T Brown, hello from Los Angeles, Deborah Felix, Scott Argyle, Tracy Murray, Terry Newell. Now I'm just saying names. Just to let you know I've seen your stuff. All right, I'm just gonna scroll and see what's up. Mickey is doing great. He's fine. Like, he loves that truck. I did introduce him to Jaylena's cats. BB just kind of stared at him, and then there was a little hissing session between him and the other cat. Oh God, I know the cat's name. Why is it dropping out of my head? Because I'm tired. I also did a bunch of rewiring in the truck while it was raining, since I could only work on the inside, and I've been meaning to sort of straighten that out. I rewired a bunch of stuff, including my cameras, because for my camera I had it hooked up, but I basically just had a wire running between the seats, that I unplugged and plugged, but it was kind of a trip hazard, so I was able to route that underneath the truck and have it come up and then go to the battery compartment in the back, the battery compartment being where my Jackery is stored. I switched it up so I now have 2 fuse boxes instead of 1. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, and both of those fuse boxes are connected to a 12-volt plug that I can plug into the Jackery, which allows me to just fuse anything 12 volt I want to the fuse box. But the reason why I did 2 fuse boxes, I think I just saw water falling from the sky. Let's see. The rain is supposed to be over. Fuse boxes, that's what I was talking about. The reason why I did 2 is because it actually made more sense and it allowed me to neaten up some of my wiring. So I have one box on the passenger side of the truck, and then I have another one on the driver's side of the truck, closer to the battery box. And that way, from the fuse box, there's only 2 wires that need to come to the Jackery. So I have 2 different 12-volt plugs, and I can rotate them between the 2 Jackeries or do whatever I need to do in any situation. And that was actually a much better setup for wiring things. I also wired in some new lighting that I'm really happy about. It was kind of dark in there. I only had really one primary light, and now I have a few lights, which you know, life. Now that I've rambled a bunch, let me look back at the chat. That's what happens. I get to talking and I just get to talking. I also labeled my wires so I can actually know what is what after you get multiple things plugged in, so I had to track back and do that. So it actually took me to the day that I did wiring, because it was just raining. I was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I worked on it till like almost midnight, and I didn't even realize it was midnight because it was just raining and miserable all day. And then like I was like, oh crap, I should clean up so I can actually go to bed. And there was like stuff everywhere, so then it took me a couple hours to clean up and be able to go to bed. So yeah, it took me to like really late, which is why I don't know, I feel like my energy is really down right now. I'm also intimidated about painting, and it's not even that complicated, but I'm very intimidated about painting tomorrow. Julianne says, hi Dawn, I hope it's the type of painting that everyone has been asking you to do, a mural on the outside of the truck. The thing is, like, there's very basic painting that needs to be done that will improve the look, that isn't necessarily a mural. And I don't know what I want. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what I want. Christy, thank you for the $49.99 super chat. Super sticker, is that what that's called? I love the little rocket ship. Halo, what? Thank you, Aranara. Like, I said the cat's name like 15,000 times. I was like, what's the white cat? I remember BB, because BB's my homie. I love seeing BB. I love petting BB. BB's just adorable. Halo's cool, but Halo's one of those cats that, like, I feel like I have to, like, feel her out and get her to accept me. I'm reading. Coralie says, good wiring that removes trip hazards is so underrated. I love good wiring. I love good wiring too, but it isn't like as exciting or sexy as a mural on the side of a vehicle. Lisa Hing, thank you for the $20 super chat. She says, you are rocking it, girl. Thank you so much. Terry Newell says, remember what Chrome went through because he used spray cans. I don't feel like he went through anything that bad, to be quite honest. Like, that paint job lasted a while, and it was what he could afford at the time with the connections he had at the time. So, like, I don't consider it a bad thing. It wasn't like he could have done then what he's doing now. And because he did what he did then, it gave him a pretty truck for a while, and then when circumstances and opportunities presented himself, he upgraded. So I don't really consider it really bad. I still think, like, the rattle can job he did at the time with the resources and money he had is impressive. The new paint job is cool. I've only seen it in pictures because I haven't had time to watch his videos. But, like, the new paint job is cool, but it's freaking impressive what he did with rattle cans and the resources that he had at the time. Like, I don't really consider it a bad thing. So yeah, but I mean, that's what it comes down to for me. Like, I don't consider, like, upgrading later a bad thing, you know? Becky Robertson says, how can you stealth camp when you have paintings on it? Honestly, I don't believe in stealth. I think stealth is, like, 50% BS and 50% people not caring. Because of the box truck being a box truck, what I find most often is people are confused. Like, their immediate thought is not, this is a camper. If you're in the world of people with campers, they may see things on the outside that make them question it, or pay a little bit more attention. But I would say a good 80% of the world, just because it's a box truck, I could put anything I want on there, and the default of it being a box truck would make them just either be confused, not question it, or ignore it. The folks that had the tile on their and that regular house door on the back of their box truck, even them and that box truck, to me, as soon as I saw it, I thought RV box truck. Like, even they said, like, people are just confused because of the form factor of the box truck itself. But honestly, if people are going to care that much, I don't want to be there because they're paying me too much attention. I like to be in areas where people aren't really paying attention. So, like, my reluctance to have, like, heavy graphics on the side of the truck has more to do with my indecision about what I would want that to be, as opposed to any worry about stealth, because I just don't believe in it anymore. Like, after doing this for 3 years and seeing everything from the most stealth vehicles to the most very unstealth vehicles still be able to park on the street as long as they were the right size and weight, and it didn't look absolutely out of place for the area. After seeing that over like 3 years now, stealth is whatever. Like, it's 50% being the type of person who people tend to ignore, and also, like, not trying to take over a place like you own it, and that covers a lot of your bases. Yeah. Princess Pamela says, I'm home in Portland. Dawn, we are in the same state again. Yay! Did I miss a super chat? No, I think I got them both. Kathy says, do you have to have a CDL license to drive a bus conversion? I am no expert on buses, but I believe, because if you think about it, a Class A RV, which is the ones that normally they have a flat nose, they're very large and they're very tall, but a Class A RV, you can drive with your regular license. Now, you have to verify from state to state. Now, when you first buy your bus, before you convert it, you may need to check the laws relating to your size and weight. And with buses, another thing that might come into play is the number of seats. So the problem is less after conversion. Depending on your state, you have to do your independent research, but depending on your state, usually the problem is not after conversion. Like, if you convert it and the DMV like says you can convert it, that's not the problem. The legality you need to check with is like there are certain lights you can't use. You have to take off your stop sign. Sometimes if you have a certain number of seats, you can't drive it, so you need to get those seats out. So the problem is usually getting it home. And you should verify if you're going to go into any sort of commercial vehicle, verify these laws with the state. For my personal box truck, that is a van front. The front of this thing is a van. This is a Ford E350 van. Like, that is what the front of my box truck is. So all the laws for riding a Ford E350 van is all I need to drive it, even though it is a commercial class vehicle. So I don't need a special license for it. And a lot of the smaller buses are the same way. Like, the fronts are the same class as either a heavy-duty truck or a heavy-duty van or a truck. So you're in that weight class for your driver's license, and you can drive most of those without a CDL. Becky Robinson says, no, you don't have to have a CDL. So I'm assuming she knows more than me about buses. But like I said, verify things with your state, because there are maybe other things you have to be concerned with, and you want to make sure you're compliant. D. Huffman says, he said, don't do the rattle can if you know you were going to upgrade later. He said it was a beast to remove. Well, that's the thing. He didn't know he was going to upgrade later. He couldn't have afforded it at the time. And of course, in hindsight, you're always going to say that. But he rode great for the time he had it. You could change anything down the line, including the whole vehicle. So yeah. Xenia's World says, at Kathy Oakley, you do not need a CDL unless you are driving passengers or commercially. Now, the hang-up that I've heard about, and I could be wrong, is that if you still have the seats present to be able to take passengers, that might fall into a funny legality. So if you get the seats out, it's definitely not a problem, because you're not legally able to, like, you know, transport people at the same level as a school bus. Paul Sherman says, what is Chrome's channel? And Zena's World answered, Van City, Van Life. Thank you so much. Linda Bishop says, hi, Dawn, Texas lady, living in a school bus for 12 years. You rocking it. Stationary, rural, great landlord, researching solar generators, your box truck, and love your box truck and Mickey. That sounds awesome. If you are stationary, I don't know how big your investment is, but at least, like, unlike some of us who want to be mobile, like if you're stationary and that's your plan, it's a little easier to get like those larger solar generators, because you're not worried about portability. Paula says, your camera lens looks smugly. Yes, it does. I apologize for that earlier in the chat. Or did I? I mentioned that it's a little off. The sun is going down, so it is 6:30 here, so I'm losing sunlight, and yeah, it's been raining for the past couple days. So one, the quality of this phone that I'm using to go live on, and two, the air is probably adding to that sort of foggy look. Be America says, sup, Super Curl, what's up? Linda Bishop is also saying no CDL on a school bus. Jams Enjoy Life says, I just sold my RV and I do miss it. Aww. Becky Robertson says, if it has air brakes, we're back to the subject of buses, which is funny. I feel like I kept calling my vehicle a bus, and it's not a bus, but I'm around people who only have buses, so they keep referring to buses. But anyway, Becky says, if it has air brakes, you have to know how to use them. I don't know what that means, so whatever. D7, is the fog bothering my ability to breathe? I think there's more mist on the lens than is actually present. Like, I think the effect on your end might be heavier than the actual view on my end. And some of that is the quality of this camera, and I just didn't have anything else to use. So we're rolling with it. D. Huffman, I'm going to read this, says, you need a CDL to move passengers, but most states don't require it for an RV, no matter how big. A few are changing that. Always check. And that is something I have to emphasize over and over again, because what's true for states I've been in, and you only have to comply with the state where you are licensed, mostly. So that's what you need to check. Where you are building the vehicle, where you plan to register it, where you plan to license it, you need to be very clear on what the laws are in your state. Now, it doesn't mean you may not run into hiccups, but for the most part, once people convert buses to RVs, they're treated like RVs. Like, people can tell pretty quickly. if it is or isn't, and more than likely nobody's going to be looking up your license unless you f up. But with your state that you're building in, that you're licensing in, you need to be compliant. So that is the state where you need to research all the laws and making sure you're compliant, because even if it's not a CDL, there may be very specific things you have to do to your bus just to be compliant, especially if you're using it to like get materials while you're mid build and before it is legally an RV while you're just owning the vehicle. So always check with your state. Don't go to some random YouTuber. Like when I was trying to get insurance for my box truck, there were a lot of helpful people who kept recommending people to me who live in Canada. So not only are they not in my state, they're not even in my country. And so laws can vary not only from state to state, but definitely in another country. So always check with your local DMV. It may be a pain. They may not know. I mean, like when I went to the California DMV, there were people who were like, what? Like they're used to handling that everyday stuff. So even they might have to go check the books or like check with somebody, and you might spend a lot of pain in the butt days on phones making phone calls, but it'll keep you legally compliant at least long enough to get your vehicle home, be able to use it while you're building, and then get it, flipped to an RV when you need to. Yeah. Semi-retired Bob says, Dawn was right when she said check your local laws before you get it home. Having been a commercial driver for 25 plus years, there are many variables, but it mostly runs on GVW, which is government weight, correct? Tell me right, semi-retired Bob. So yeah, weight of the vehicle. If you go into the box truck category like I will, weight is going to have a lot of impact. If you go into the bus category, weight will impact, but also seats will impact. And so like you just need to be sure. Earl Blackman says, Dawn, where'd you get your Superman gear? Thank you for a fun question. Honestly, whenever I'm walking through a store, if I see Superman stuff, I buy it. And I actually have a whole video where I went to Metropolis, Illinois. Yes, there is a Metropolis, Illinois, and they had like a whole Superman micro museum, and I actually filmed the whole thing. So if you go back in my archives, you can actually find that. It was one of my most fun videos I've ever filmed. I'm gonna be honest, my feet are getting a little bit itchy, and like, I want to get this painting project done, but like there's a part of me that just wants to be like, I want to get back on the road. I want to go somewhere. But there are reasons to stay still right now. Namely, the paint job that I want to get done. Collie says, hi, Dawn. I love the Mickey videos. Do you plan on doing more? I want to. I've just been distracted by so many things, and I don't know. I've been distracted by so many things, but yeah, I do want to start doing Mickey videos again. Linda Bishop says, yeah, I love Dawn in Superwoman mode too. I am the biggest Superman fan. So if you ever find anything done, I'm usually like, don't send me stuff. I'm trying to be minimal. I'm trying to cut down on stuff. But if you send me something Superman, I probably will get super excited. And I will say, I like Supergirl. There is a Superwoman. Nerd attack. Superwoman and Supergirl are two different characters. They're not the same. Superwoman is a little less used than Supergirl, and there are actually multiple versions because comic books. But I am a big Superman fan. Like, I love me some Clark Kent. I love me some Kal-El. Like, people think he's boring. I don't think he's boring. And I think it's like that alien concept where he's like, he's always trying to fit into a world where he never will completely fit in. Yes, I know he has superpowers, and that seems awesome and amazing, and like, and all these things. And he seems to be able to do all these things that any person would wish they could do. But it's a little more complicated than that because he can never just live as like a normal person. As much as he strives to like fit in and be one of us, he's not. But he also even despite that, he doesn't hate humanity. He still wants to do like the best he can for humanity, for the most part. Yeah, so that's why I like Superman. I think he's a very cool character, and every other character is just like offshoot of that. Even though like Supergirl is very interesting, like not the CW oh god, I'm going off about superhero characters, because like she in a way is the opposite of Clark, because she has some history of being raised on the planet before it was destroyed, so she has an actual identity with like her home planet. So she's an interesting character too, and I like the TV show version, but she was basically Clark Kent as a girl, and that's not what makes Supergirl interesting. I am a dork. Adrian Drayton, thank you for the $5 super chat and the super cute sticker. D. Huffman says, I love Dual X. Who mentioned Dual X? I love him too. He is a master builder. Okay, so the view, from what I can see on my phone, it looks like the view is getting worse. So we'll see how long I stay on. If visibility gets terrible, we're gonna have to wrap it up for the night. Deborah on the Go says, have you had to rearrange your setup inside? I am moving stuff weekly, it seems. And then there's this emoji. I would say in my previous vehicles, I changed up things a lot. And that's mostly because like I was learning how to live in a small space. I haven't done a lot of massive changes to the setup in there, and that's mostly because like there was very much purpose in the space I was acquiring. So like, except for like maybe rearranging how I wire things and like doing some tweaks here and there hasn't been a lot of major changes. And also like this has more of a build where things are kind of in a place, so it's really hard to put them in another place, as it were. So yeah, that's my answer to that. But when I was in like the van and the minivan and the car, like I was changing up stuff all the time, finding new like setups that work. Paulette Sweet Pea Johnson says, hey Dawn, from Paulette, I hope you're having oh, hi Paulette, in Oregon. It's beautiful, I know. It's cold and rainy the last couple of days. Oregon is a beautiful state. It's one of my favorites. But right now I'm just cold and wet, and I'm like, rain, go away. It did go away. It's supposed to not rain for the next few days, and that's all I want. Let me see. Thank you, semi-retired Bob. I couldn't remember what the abbreviation means. So GVW is gross vehicle weight, which it's one of those things I knew and forgot. I was like, I know GVW is important, and what is exactly government weight? I just made up words. It's gross vehicle weight, which actually makes more sense. But I just forgot for a little bit. Demita Joe says, Dawn, I really enjoyed your interview with your doozy. Thank you so much. I was glad it finally went up. We actually did that interview a little while back. So it was enjoyable. Earl Blackman says, Dawn, have you thought about getting a wireless remote for your liftgate? No. That sounds like it would take some rewiring, and I don't know that it would be worth it, honestly. Whenever I use the liftgate, I'm standing right there, so I don't think I'd use it. Freedom Dove says Superman is pretty awesome. D. Huffman is also saying that she loved when Superman reversed to Earth to get his true love back. You're talking about the Christopher Reeve version. Yeah, Superman's pretty awesome. I love Superman. Brenda Bright Studio says Wonder Woman is my fave. I love Wonder Woman. With Wonder Woman, she's more a god who's like godlike, whereas Superman is seen as a god, and he's, you know, if you get in certain eras of his history, it's weird. But I love Wonder Woman. I love me some Wonder Woman. Just not as much as Kal-El. Lori Hicks said, asked if I met Dual X at Gutted. I did meet him for like 15 minutes. And he seemed super nice. He just didn't have a lot of time. Nobody who was building had a lot of time. Terry Newell says, have you ever watched the original Superman TV show in black and white? I've seen episodes. I've never actually watched the whole series, but I have seen episodes. Semi-retired Bob says that Boxtruck must seem like a palace after that minivan you started in. Remember, I started in a car. And yes, it does seem like a palace. Earl Blackman says, have you thought of adding puck lighting like Chrome's van? I didn't want to do puck lights stuck on the outside of the ceiling. So the only other way to do puck lights would be to rip the ceiling down and then wire them up into the ceiling. And I didn't want to do all that. And I didn't want surface mounted puck lights. My fingers are so dirty. I was cleaning today and I washed my hands. I swear. Thank you for the $20 super chat, Che Baker. Love it. The sticker's adorable. Rescue Dog Treat says, how long are you staying in Oregon? ? My answer is ? I don't know. Like, right now the goal is to get the project done. And then I definitely want to do some traveling. If that'll be in Oregon or leaving Oregon, I'm just not sure yet. But right now I'm in project mode. I have projects I need to get done. Stacy Eastman sent a $20 super chat and she said it was for an Oregon sweatshirt. Okay, I guess I have to get one. Deborah on the Go says, my next ride will be a box truck like yours. I like the straight walls and roof. It does make a lot of things easier. Coralie says, I grew up with the Christopher Reeve Superman. So did I. And think of him as the original and the best. I love me some Christopher Reeve, but I will say with my mom, I have a memory of watching Lois and Clark every week. Like I got introduced to the Christopher Reeve Superman as a kid, but I think like I have an attachment, even though Dean Cain wasn't even physically the most ideal Superman, I have an attachment to that version just because like my mom is gone now, and one of my strongest memories was watching that show with her like every week, you know. I do want to see there's a new, it's called Superman and Lois, the new one. Lois and Superman, it's one or the other. I know it's not Lois and Clark, because that's the new Adventures of Superman that are now old with Dean Cain. But I think like there's a new Superman show. Jamilta says, Dawn, have you thought about building an interior door? The interior doorway I wanted, I built, and I screened it off. I don't want a swinging door, because with the swinging door, I have to worry about which way it's swinging. And the way I have it set up now with the doorway, with just the screen, is I can get in and out that door while the roll-up door is down. I can still get into my little garage area in the back from the inside. And if I had a swinging door, I'd have to worry about which way it swung. Daughter Zion says, I think Wonder Woman is a demigod. She is. Is the S on the shirt should glow in the dark? Mine does. I don't think this one glows in the dark. I think this is just etching. I have a bunch of Superman shirts. This is just one of them. This one's kind of covered in paint from a previous project, not even what I was doing today. I may be covered in paint by the end of tomorrow, though, because we got projects to do. Cute old lady says, when is Gutted going to be broadcast? I'm so old I remember Superman in black and white. It was corny, but we thought it was great. Yeah, that's the George Reeve version of Superman. And Gutted is going to be broadcast in November, I think. But don't hold me to that. It's kind of sad because it happened and you guys know people were there, and it'll still take them some time to put together everything into the actual show. So yeah, but I think November is the target. D. Huffman says, George Reeve was the second Superman. I did not know that. You're correcting me. And most thought he was the first. There was one in... Oh, okay. Well, then George Reeves was the first TV Superman. I know there was a radio show because Kryptonite, I believe, actually came from the radio show and not the comic books. I don't know how we started talking about Superman in this. Oh, because me. That's why. How did we start talking? But I love so many people are just dropping lore bits right now in a completely unrelated environment. Kaylee, thank you for the $20 Victory Super Sticker. It is so cute. And Victor Vane, thank you for the $5 Super Sticker. Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on, like, George Reeves is the first TV Superman. The radio program would be a separate thing. In a way, but yeah. Loves the Languages says, what's the best vehicle to get started with? I'm in Indiana and want to try something next year, but the winters might be tough for solar and heat. The best vehicle to start with is the one that's most... I don't know if the traffic's really loud for you, but it's really loud for me. But what can you afford? Start with that. What are your uncompromising sort of things you want? Start with that. Do you have anything you can start with now? Vehicles can always be sold and you can always buy new vehicles. So the question is, like, where do you want to start? Like, what are your make and breaks? For me, I think a minivan's great. It drives like a freaking car. They're very easy to strip out, and you don't have to worry about dealing with a lot of like questions, like, you know, laws in your state regarding the weight of your vehicle. Now, it does mean you're going to be in a low roof vehicle, but there are plenty of people out there in low roof vehicles and rocking it. Share the Wild, Chrome's friend. Oh my God, his minivan is so pimp. Like, but he really knows what he's doing. Lady Bug Out has a tiny little van. Bunny Plays Here has a tiny little van, and they are out there enjoying themselves and exploring. Like, all of those people are just rocking it. Scott. Why is this channel gone? Why am I remembering his real name than Scott? But he has a tiny little van. He's been doing it for a number of years and he enjoys it. So really ask yourself, like, what are your lack of compromises? Sometimes also getting a smaller van means you can get a newer van. Because right now, like, buses are popular right now. Like, it is a fight to get a mini bus. Most people want the short buses and the mini buses and the little shuttle buses that are going to fit into standard parking. And it is a fight to get those right now because they're just becoming more popular. And so you can end up spending a lot of money on an older vehicle. And if you're okay with what that means, like, I have an older vehicle, that's fine. But, like, you could also get a smaller, newer vehicle. It'll be easier to get. You'll be fighting less people for them, you know, and it has all the advantages of a newer vehicle. Or if you got money like that, you can get a newer standing height, whatever you want. I personally do not see how I could have started in a commercial class vehicle. I am so glad I started in vehicles that were just regular old passenger vehicles, and I wasn't trying to figure out all of that on top of transitioning into this lifestyle. Now, you can also get an RV. I mean, depending on how you want to live. Are you trying to, like, cruise around the city, or whatever, or are you trying to travel? Do you want a ready-made home? Like, RVs are an option, and they take away a lot of the work. You can get RV insurance anywhere because it's an RV. It came out the factory as an RV. And you can renovate RVs. You don't have to be stuck with what they are when you get them. Like, there's plenty of people who renovate RVs. That was not an answer. I'm sorry. I am reading the chats. And I've been on, so I think just because of the quality of the camera and the fog and the weather and it getting pretty late, I'm probably gonna cut this at like 45 minutes. Just to let you guys know. So I'm probably gonna jump off here in about 5 minutes. Uh-oh, I'm seeing deleted messages. That means somebody was being bad in the chat. Thank you for taking care of that. It looks like Freedom Dove and Princess Pamela knocked down a troll. Marie Lambert says, from Alabama, my first live with you. Thank you for being here. Safe travels. Yes. Yes, no alcohol heaters, LOL. I honestly don't know enough about alcohol heaters to give an answer on them. Yeah. Rescue Dog Treat says, I just bought a Transit Connect 2016. Not as small as Lady Bugouts. Can't wait to get the build going. There you go. You got your little mini camper. I would love to have a mini camper. If I had somewhere to park this occasionally, so I could have a mini camper when I wanted something smaller, to go out for a little while, I would totally do a mini camper. But I need one vehicle. I can't do the two. Because then that brings on a new bill of some place to store the other one. Sheila Ross says, do you ever do cooking videos? I am not really a cook. Cooking for me is a lot of heating up. TB Phoenix says, hi Dawn, there's a book by another nomad that has work from your location, job listing information in it. That's wonderful. Something I purchased for myself. Let me know if you're interested. I'm totally interested. Gene Fagan says, just joining. Yay, thank you for joining. Dawn, you're really on this, so could not miss. Your camera's very cloudy. I know, I apologize. Yeah. Semi-retired Bob says, my van crapped out and I'm building a Ford Escape hybrid. Going to pull a teardrop with it. There you go. So you got you got your new setup. I mean, I don't know how long you had your van. I hope it didn't crap out on you very early into getting it. I'm like, if you get an old vehicle and you get 3 years out of it, I think that's like a good stretch. 2 is pretty okay. If you get an older vehicle, it's a gamble out the gate. Honestly, if you get a new vehicle, it's also a gamble, but you may have more protections in place than you would with an older vehicle. And that's part of the game, you know? I wouldn't pronounce your name. Pronounce it Jamaltia? I'm sorry if I butchered that, but it's such a cute sticker. It says, thanks for being you. Thank you so much. Static Camper Van, thank you. Rescue Dog Treats. Scott's channel is... Why can I not remember his channel name? I remembered his name, but couldn't remember his channel name. But his channel is Static Camper Van. He has a mini camper, and he has been living in it for several years now. So he's another good one to check out if, you're interested in, like, thinking about if you could do a mini camper. I was in a minivan for 2.5 years, and I was honestly happy. Like, it wasn't like I was dying. Like I was happy. Even though it wasn't the most ideal situation, and I eventually did obviously upgrade twice since then, it's not the worst thing in the world. And the thing about like a smaller vehicle is you have to embrace living out of it. It's not living in it, it's about living out of it. Annette says, I love t-shirts. I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle t-shirt. So rocking. There was a guy at Gutted who like just showed up all the time in like a Teenage Mutant Ninja t-shirt. It was awesome. I get a lot of compliments when I wear it, LOL. You know what t-shirt I wear and I get a lot of comments? I have this t-shirt from the anime Full Metal Alchemist, and it's tearing apart, and I love that shirt. It has the Elric brothers on it, and I love when people see that shirt, because then I connect with my fellow nerds. And one girl questioned me. She acted like I ain't know nothing about Full Metal. I have seen both Full Metal and Full Metal Brotherhood. I haven't read the manga, so I'm not that cool, but she thought I was just fronting with my t-shirt, so I had to let her know. It's so loud. Here comes the train. Here comes the train, train, train. It's so loud. Here comes the train. Here comes the train, train, train. I don't know how the train affects sound on your end, but it sounds very loud from here. All right, so I'm gonna try to wrap things up. So I'm gonna be doing some quick scrolling just to let you know. I don't know what's with the trolls. Thank you moderators for knocking out the trolls. Love Languages says, thank you, that helped me a lot with my decision making. I'm looking from a different angle now. There you go. Just look at it that way. D. Huffman says, you are Freedom Dove, you are the troll control master. I agree. She be knocking them down like whack-a-troll. Bam. Jen Halliburton says, it took all three of us. Good grief. Thank you, moderators. Because at least by the time I get there, like, I don't even see it. Like, the negativity is just gone, but that means you guys have to deal with it. So I thank you so much for being my moderators, knocking stuff down. Jen, Freedom Dove, Princess Pamela, D. Huffman. Did I hit everybody who's in the chat right now? Like, thank you so much. Andrea said, good night, Dawn. Good night. D. Huffman says, Dawn, when are we going to do a Zoom on Patreon? I need to do that. I'm sorry. I've been neglectful. Freedom Dove, thank you for linking Static Camperman Van's channel. If you are not subscribed to Static Camper Van, you should subscribe. He is a great guy, and he's just a great guy. I've met him in person. He's a great guy, and great guy. Well, the train is gone, so now I can hear myself think. Linda Bishop is shouting out at somebody else, says, Max Out Fun has a tiny van and it's so cool. He has so many little compartments. It is unreal. So there you go. That's another person to check out. Freedom Dove says, I can't hear the train much. Well, that's good. That means my mic is picking up me and not a lot of background noise. Scott says, where are you? Still in Oregon? I am still in Oregon right now. I need to sort of get myself in a place where I can even think about doing a meetup. And I'm not there yet, to be quite honest. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so we are at 49 minutes and 26 seconds. If anybody wants to ask any other questions, it's getting dark. The camera quality is already meh. So if anybody else has anything else to say, I'd be glad to answer any other questions. Even though I feel like I never give like these exact answers to things, I'm always like, well, what are the circumstances of your question? Like, what are your make or breaks? You know, like when people ask what's the best vehicle to get, like what is the most important to you? Getting out there sooner, getting out there with standing height, having a newer vehicle, having a dependable vehicle type, you know, or what are your make or breaks? And like, I think that's something you need to consider. Like, I knew gas mileage wasn't going to be great in this thing, but ideally what I'd like to be doing with this box truck is traveling slow and staying in places longer. So I could give up a little bit of gas mileage for a standing height vehicle that I could afford, and that I felt comfortable building out. So that became a make or break thing for me in making the change. But when I first started, it was like a bed. Can I put a bed in it? And that is why I got a minivan. Because it was like, that was the only qualifier. If I could put a comfortable laying bed in there without a bunch of shenanigans, and I'm sorry, I know there's a bunch of people who do it in cars, but it always looks like a bunch of shenanigans to me. I knew I could put a comfortable bed in a minivan and be fine. And so minivans were accessible. There's plenty of them out there. So when I got my minivan, like, that was my make or break. Now my make or breaks changed over time, and I changed with those make or breaks and adjusted as I could and as my finances like allowed me. So yeah, that's why I don't answer questions directly. When people are like, how much solar should I have, or how many batteries should I have? It's like, well, what do you do? Are you a very minimalist camper who's just going to charge your cell phone and maybe run a fridge? You need hardly nothing. Now, if you want to go out in the middle of the woods and be a gamer, your bills just went up because you're going to need a lot of different stuff to be able to, you could do it. People do it, you know? But a lot of things are going to change if you're a gamer. How you work online. Like, if you can just work from, you know, again, a cell phone versus like, you know, needing a full desktop setup. And I have seen vehicles with full desktop setups. You know, that is going to define sort of how you build a power system. So there is no one size fit all answer. So I always feel like people are a little bit unhappy with my answers sometimes because I don't say, get this. Because I'm like, well, what is your make or break? Like, what is it that you're doing in order to shape what my personal feelings on what that answer would be? All right. I'm going to scroll one more time, and then we're going to wrap this up. So let's see. Thank you, Dee, for reminding everybody to hit that thumbs up. Yeah, if you could just take a second to hit the thumbs up, it definitely helps the channel. I am happy to have all 280 plus people I see here. I don't know if that's the peak number of people that's been in a chat. Heather Cave, my miles per gallon. To answer your question, I get about 10 miles to the gallon in the box truck, which is average, which makes me feel good. Like, the weight of the build hasn't really changed it at all. It's about what it's expected to be, which is around 10 miles per gallon. Harryman mentioned Adventure Van Man. Adventure Van Man's great. Thank you for linking Brian's channel, Freedom Dove. Definitely somebody I would love to support. All right. So, I'm good for the night. I didn't miss any super chats, did I? I got everybody. I thanked everybody, right? I'm really bad at this, guys. All right. Night, night.